Hello my friends and welcome to episode 46 of our Football Manager 2021 Let's Play with Rangers. We are currently doing a January window roundup. I've not done one of these in a good while, but I kind of feel like this one was going to be a big one, so I said I would do one. We've got Liverpool coming up in the Champions League, so this allows us to cover a lot of games that we've played between the last game we covered, which I think was Milan, and today, as well as, all the transfer ins and outs. So we're going to start with the ins because it's a bit interesting. There's only two ins. The first one is Dino Haglund. He is a young Swedish midfielder who was highly recommended by my scouts. He has failed to get a work permit, but we'll get him one. And he's just, he's fairly decent. He's not quite there yet, but he's got some really good stats to base off at 18. We're hoping to get him a work permit in the near future. And, fast track him into the first team as quickly as possible is kind of what I'm thinking with him. But he can cover so many different roles that we play. Hopefully he can come in and do that job. He's on loan currently to Alessandria in the Serie B. We're hoping that's enough to get him his work permit. The other option was to send him to Elfsborg, who is our feeder team in Sweden. But I feel like that might be an issue in regards to getting him the work permit. And then we broke our transfer record. And we broke it at the start of the year, signing Olivier Baptiste-Mer for 14.25 million. So we've increased it by 10.25 million to bring in Ron Zangelo Dahl from AZ Alkmaar. Now he was described as a wonder kid. He's now described as a winger now that he's arrived with us. But hey ho, he is a real life player as well. But he had a release clause at £24.5 million. And I made a promise to a player that if he signed a new contract, I would improve the left wing position. Now you'll see the outs that became more and more essential as the window went on, but I felt like this kid had something about him. So we've made the move. I think we'll make profit on him. It won't be the big profit that we've made on some other players, but he is the kind of player that comes in and I think automatically improves us. I think he's a stronger replacement for Kane than what Baptiste-Mer was. Not that Baptiste-Mer has done bad by any stretch of the imagination. I think this guy's just a much more natural fit for our system. But it will allow us that option on the left wing as well, and both Baptiste-Mer and Dahl can play on the right as well, which is important too. So, and both of them can play up top in emergency situations. I think things are going to be bright in that area going forward. So that's our in. So on the outs, we had Aaron Caventis went back on loan to Elfsborg. We had Dino Haglund on loan to Alessandria. We've covered that. And then the first big out, I signed Adam Hozic a new contract at the start of the season. As you know, his contract would have been out at the end of this season. I didn't realise there was a release clause in this now too. I'd have been quite happy to sell him for about this kind of price in the summer, but I felt now there was a lot more interest, I'd have been happier. I would have rather have had it got a bit more. Unfortunately, release clauses were triggered, and Adam Hozic is away to Burnley for £19.5 million. In the Premiership, he's had a decent start, 5 games, 1 goal for Burnley. But again, covers multiple positions. We wish him well. He was a good player for us. He is eligible as a homegrown player for us, which was kind of sucked and why I would have wanted more. But hey ho, he wasn't getting a huge amount of games this season. He's already matched what he's done for us for Burnley, so it's probably a good career move for him. And then Jan Castillo. Now I mentioned there was a big chance that we lost him this window. I eventually decided about Christmas time that he would negotiate a new contract. So I offered him one. He still wanted a release clause, but would have upped it by about £2 million. Which was more than what we were paying him in signing on fees and agent fees. Unfortunately, Hunt signed that before the January window, and the release clause was triggered very quickly by a couple of teams. Now, I did accept one bid that was, I think, 26.5 million plus some add-ons, plus a sell-on, which would have been ideal. If he was going to accept any offer, that was the one that we wanted him to accept, because that would have been the one that, we would have got less money now, but I guaranteed you would have got a lot more down the line. Unfortunately, he accepted the Borussia Dortmund offer. He's going to go there. He's already had a number of games for Borussia Dortmund, 6 games in the league. He is going to be world class. It's a shame to lose him for £27 million, but I cannot. Let's have a look at his form for Dortmund. Stats maybe. It's not going to tell me. Hey ho, I wanted to see what he was playing for Dortmund. That's what I wanted to see. But hey ho, Dortmund, statistics, league, it's not going to tell me. It's not going to tell me, is it? I need to scout him to do that. Hey ho, doesn't matter. We converted him from a left back to a midfielder where I think he has blossomed, became a top player in that position. Will go on, as I said, to be, he's already very, very good. I think he will be one of the best midfielders in the world in a few years to come. We've made 27.5 million profit minus wages, signing on fee and whatnot for him. In a year, we signed him for free. This guy, as I said, heartbreaking to lose him, but hey ho. Nick Rikamari has gone out on loan. Now, the Korean lad that we signed in the summer, now where is he? This guy, he has returned. So, we had 3 players for that position. And apparently I had made a promise to Rikamari that he would get a loan. So, we looked for a loan for him. And he's got a loan to the English Premiership. Now, Crystal Palace are having a pretty terrible season, down at bottom of the league. By a bit of a way, you know, they're probably not going to avoid relegation. So it's not the typical system that you're going to see from us that he's away playing. But, you know, he's away playing his trade in a league that he is going to learn a lot more in. So this is only good. Plus, it should bump that value right up, I would hope, as well. So he's out on loan. Maybe not as much money as we would want for him on that loan, but hey-ho, is what it is. And then Bruno. I said I'd be open to selling Bruno. I think I initially said 5-6 million, and the bids on the opening day of the transfer window were around that amount. He is not a typical Don fullback. He was improving at the going forward stuff, and he was obviously probably our best fullback defensively, which is good for European football or whatnot. But I felt that sometimes you have to accept that he's not the player for you. Now, Porto have already converted him into a centre back, which is interesting. I do see centre back traits in him. He doesn't have the jumping reach for me personally, but he's away to Porto, 11.5 million plus. I think there's a sell-on fee in there as well, which will allow us even more money. Again, for a free player in a year, maybe it's like a year. In a year, he signed in January last year. We've made £11.5 million plus sell-on fees for him. That's just good business for a player that doesn't necessarily suit our system. Done very well for us, but doesn't necessarily suit our system. Michael Brown away on loan to Hull. He is going to be a top player. Unfortunately, it doesn't necessarily suit our system because he's a left-footed winger, and I don't think he'll transition well into the inner sides of the role. He can't finish, so I don't think he necessarily suits being an attacking winger. Maybe a bit of an attacking fullback about him, actually. I might consider that when Michael Brown comes back, if we have some left back issues. And the other one that's away is Stevie Hodge. Now, he is a fullback. He could play either side of fullback. I was retraining him as a centre back. We bought him from Motherwell for 130k, 115k. So we've doubled our money on Stevie Hodge. He has sell-on fees, appearance fees, international fees, every kind of fee that you can think of is in there. So far he has cost Hearts 230,000. Potential add-ons up to 300,000. Plus a sell-on fee. I didn't think he was ever going to make it for us when I was looking at it, and then when I realised we were doubling our money plus add-ons, I was just like, yeah, this is a no-brainer. Let's accept this. Get him out the door. So I am going to cover the previous games since that Milan game, all the way back here, that 0-0 draw, which got us to the last 16 knockout stages. Yeah, last 16, because it was last 16 quarters of the Champions League. We played Hearts. We won 4-1. Fatih Art with a hat-trick. Tony Weston also on the score sheet. Patrick Kamala getting one back for Hearts before we played Falkirk. They had 2 players sent off. And realistically, we should have really put the sword to Falkirk here, and we failed to do so. But a 2-0 win is still a 2-0 win. You know, 3 points is 3 points. If we'd scored 20 goals, we wouldn't have got any more points. So hey-ho. We then played Dunfermline, a 4-1 win. Tony Weston, Castillo, Mayer and Billy Gilmore on the score sheet before we played Motherwell. A late winner. Now, we went 1-0 ahead before Jean Castillo got sent off. We actually appealed this sending off and won. It was never a red. Did affect the game. We were never the same after it. But Jordan Clark got himself a brace, which put Motherwell 1-1, and then we went 2-1 up through Billy Gilmore, and then they went 2-2. And Tony Weston rescued 3 points for us. And what was a big 3 points with a tough game with 10 men. We then played Ross County. We won 2-1. Fatih Park and Lovro Mayer scoring. Cameron Archer getting one back for them in the second half. For the second half, we dropped off quite a bit. We had a friendly against Blaze. I'm not going to cover that. Scottish Cup kicked off with 5-0 win over Edinburgh City. They had a man sent off in extra time. It didn't make a difference. This was 5 going on 20, I will be honest. Now, granted, Edinburgh City, what division are they in? They're in League 1, so you'd expect us to have a fairly good result against a racial number of players and whatnot. And it kind of took a life of its own. But Mayor, Weston, Ramsey, Nathan Young comes all on the score sheet for us in that 5-0 victory before we played Kilmarnock and a frustrating 1-1 draw. They scored fairly early on. I'm going to show you the match stats. I can't actually remember them too much myself, but as you see, they had one shot on target, 0.16 XG or 1.5, and a 1-0 draw is fairly disappointing there. And that, for the first time in the series in January, put us off top of the league, which was slightly concerning. Celtic have obviously built an extremely good squad, and they are starting to run us. We're not going to have this our own way for much longer. Niko Kovac is doing a very, very good job across there, and they are putting on the pressure and they're doing well. So they took the league lead off us with this draw against Kilmarnock. That was only our 4th draw of the season, and it was the only points we had dropped. We hadn't lost a game domestically. So it shows you how much pressure they're keeping on, that we have only dropped 6 points at this point, and we were second in the league by 2 points. Was it 1 point or 2 points? Maybe 1 point. Either way, it doesn't matter. We're second in the league at that point. But the next game happened to be Celtic at home. This was a game of penalties. Thankfully for us, we had one more penalty than them. So Love Romero scored a brace from the spot in the 31st and 34th minute. Dare Turbo got one back for them from the spot. But as you can see again, this is 2 penalties here and a 1-0 in extra time here and a 1-0 here. Both teams are on a very, very similar level at the minute. Now, I know I have regressed the team a little bit to, bring young players through. I know, I accept that I have done that. So I have regressed us a little bit to allow us to make more money, to allow us to develop the team in future. But they have still had to catch up. Our team is not that much worse than last season. They have still had to catch up, and the 3 results against Celtic show this season, in my opinion, they are really starting to put the pressure on us. They've got a lot of good players in their team. Jack Harrison and Trincao being absolute standouts. So this could be a season that goes down to the wire. But that put us back on top of the league, just. We then played Hibs. We won 5-0. Ro Zangelo Dal introducing himself to the fans early on in this game. Now, I believe he did play against Celtic because Batista, he signed just before the Celtic game and Batista Mayer got injured. So he does have a run of games here that he might not necessarily have got. But this was his second game, and what a way to introduce yourself. It was a volley from about 30 yards or something. Ross McCrory, Kim Sung-ho on the score sheet, Tony Weston and Gutierrez from the spot, giving us a 5-0 win against the Edinburgh side. And St Mirren followed up with a 4-0. Diego Almeida, Arp, Ramsey and Kane Ritchie Holster all on the score sheet. It was then the turn of Aberdeen to face our rampant side, and it was a tough game. 3-1 was maybe a bit flattering on us. They also had Paul Mayer sent off and still continued to give us a good game with 10 men. Tony Weston got a brace, and Love Romero from the spot again on the score sheet. And Dundee United, frustratingly, a 0-0 draw. At this point, that put us on. So it must have been a point because this put us on level points with Celtic. They had not dropped another point since we beat them. And it was frustrating, because I was like, we're not dropping points, and they just don't drop points either. And it's great. I'm loving it. I'm loving having the challenge. It's stressful. I will be devastated if we don't win the league. But it's nice to have that challenge, and it makes me feel like they could go and compete in Europe as well. And hopefully they do go and do a good job in the Europa League. I believe they are through. We'll check that now actually. We then played Dundee United. Sorry, that was the Dundee United game. We then played Dunfermline. We won 3-0. Love Romero getting us off to a flying start with 2 goals inside 10 minutes. One of them from the penalty spot, and Arp in the second half on the score sheet. We didn't really put Dunfermline to the sword from there. I think we were off the gas almost from the 10th minute, to be honest with you, and I didn't like that. But hey ho, is what it is. Before we then played Hearts, a 4-1 victory, a hat-trick from Fatih Arp, brought in to be a clinical striker, and he has done exactly that. And Kim Sung-ho came off the bench to get himself. Did he start this game? He did start this game. But he helped himself to a goal as well. He is looking at a very, very good young player that I'm delighted to have at the club. So the league table we will switch to. We are currently 5 points clear, but we've played a game more. Fatih Park, top goal scorer. Lovromair, second in assists this year. As you see, Jack Harrison is having a stormer. He's having a Lovromair last year sort of season. Whew. But it's been tough. So Celtic, are you still in Europe? That's the question that we asked. You are, and you beat Club Brugge 2-0. So what group were you in? You came through second, equal on points, but lost in head-to-head to Renee. Dundee United should be in here somewhere as well. Let's see how they got on. If we can find them. They're in here. They finished bottom of their group, unfortunately, with 2 draws. Not a great performance from Dundee United. So let's go and have a look at the Europa League 2 teams from last season. So we have to look at Hearts and Aberdeen. Now Hearts, I'm pretty sure, went out early on. They went out to Malmo. Hey ho, irrelevant. Let's not bother looking at that again. And then Aberdeen got themselves a tough group. Unfortunately, they came out in 3rd. They did get themselves a win. I'm assuming that was against Maribor. It was indeed. And they went through on head-to-head against Maribor, because Maribor did not beat Aberdeen. So it was a win and a draw for Aberdeen against Maribor, and they lost every other game. Whereas Maribor managed to take a win off Dynamo Kiev and a draw against Aberdeen. Draw against Aberdeen. So European-wise, it's down to us and Celtic left. They're obviously in the Europa League. We are in the Champions League. So, but there's no shame in that. Hopefully they can go rack up some coefficient points. Go deep into the competition would be good. As much as we, 1, because it helps us out league-wise, but 2, it helps us out coefficient-wise. The more coefficient points we get, the better the league's going to be, the more money that's going to be in the league. We could afford to come second and still be in the Champions League would kind of be ideal, because we can see the pressure that Celtic are putting on. All it's going to take for us is to slip up. Granted, 6 draws from us is a bad season, but we're still unbeaten. And that's the point. They're maintaining pace with that. So they're looking at high 90s, early 100s at the minute. If they were to go the rest of the season, winning every game, we are looking at low 100s at the minute if we were to go the rest of the season unbeaten. So I think, 6 draws? So it's 2 points off. So 8 points we've dropped. 10 points. So we're on for 104. They're on for 102. Assuming we won every game between now and the end of the season. Obviously we have to play each other twice still. But that will end this episode, guys. We will head over next episode straight to Anfield for the Champions League last 16 knockout stage against Liverpool. I hope to catch you then. If you've enjoyed this, hit like, hit subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think of the business. Some of it, of course, was forced on us. Some of it was a bit not, but hey ho. Let's see how it goes. Let me know your opinions, what you guys would have done, and I'll hopefully catch you all next time.